All right, so the message I want to really, put out there right now is that, we're in 2026 right now, and there's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of changes, man. When it comes to the workforce, the way you can make money, the way you can earn a living, the way you can survive, and not only survive but also, protect your family and provide for them, right? And create a future for your children. Things are changing rapidly. AI is coming in. Um, you know, you know, Technology is just moving fast. The way companies hire and fire is just crazy, and how they manage staff and how they manage people is just different. It's a lot more competitive. Um, and the way to get to a point where, you're earning a substantial living is just harder than ever, but it's also the most opportune ever. Okay, what do I mean by that? So, you know, you know, it's all about, in my opinion, I've been, if you don't know me, right, if you don't know much about me, okay, just before I get into it, I'm a business consultant, and I have been a business consultant for, gosh, 15 years now. And, I've been dealing with business owners for all this time, helping them out with their companies, small businesses, to large ones. I see what they go through. I see how competitive the market is in all of their industries, and I see what they go through on the day to day. The stress, the pressure, all of that, the financial situations. And it's very competitive now. It's very competitive. Yes, it's competitive, but at the same time, we are in a situation, not a situation, but we're in a time where, you really can create your own. You know what I mean? You got to be very strategic, and you got to be very intentional, and you got to know what you're good at and what your value is. If you want to build something where you can monetize it and create your freedom or create a substantial living. But it starts with you. It starts with you, right? You got to know exactly what you're good at, what value you can bring to the world, and you got to figure out how to monetize it. All right. Once you do that, you got to build systems. Okay. So you can grow from there. That's important, right? But, this isn't a business strategy video. It's more so about helping you get in the mindset. And, we don't have much time. We don't have much time. Your goal should be how you can attain your freedom from the slave system that you're in. That's what it's about. You work for a company, they all, they present you with roses and chocolates, what I'm saying? Sometimes some wine, or maybe not, but you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? They try to make it out like everything's gonna be beautiful, sweet and dandy, but then they don't really know you. They don't really understand you. Think about it, right? They're only caring about their job. You sit in front of a manager, he's caring about his job, right? He's worried about his ass first, not yours. If he can make you or steer you in a certain way that can help him, that's what it's all about. Okay? Results. But the results are only there to reflect him or her's performance as a manager or supervisor. So you got to think, right? They don't care about you. They care about your output, your value, and your results. Okay? If you try to come in and be like, hey, yo, I can help you with this and that and this and that, sometimes things like that can take a while. It might take, they're thinking, oh, that's extra work for me because I got to sit down with you, and they might not agree with you on a lot of things because they don't really understand maybe what you understand. So these meetings sometimes can be pointless, or you kind of display your value to them can be fucking pointless. I've tried it before when I've been employed. And they don't care about you. You have your hopes and dreams, you have your responsibilities. They have no idea what your world is about. So why should they care about you? Everyone's about themselves. All right? Everyone is about themselves to a degree, some more than others. Okay? So your duty should be, all right, how can I break free from the system? Okay, I'm gonna use this job to get paid. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, let me just say this. If you're working for a smaller company that really does care about you and cares about you and what you're trying to achieve as well as them, that's a different scenario. Okay? Then yeah, be all in, of course, right? For that person or entity that you're working for, and display as much value as you can to help that small business grow, because if they grow, you'll get more opportunities, you'll get paid more. You know what I'm saying? Your lifestyle will improve. Okay? But if you're working for like a big company, 100 to 500 to 1,000 employees, then the situation is going to be a lot different because they're a bigger corporate entity. And at the end of the day, there's lots of managers involved. There's hierarchies. So you have a manager who he has a manager, and then they have a manager, and so on. And they have investors and all that kind of stuff that they have to impress and keep there. You know what I'm saying? Board of directors, all that. So that's a whole different situation because they're all trying to cover their ass, and the manager above that person, your first manager, don't really know you. You know what I mean? They know your name and maybe your productivity, but they don't know you. You understand? And that's why there's a lot of bullshit that can arise in these bigger corporate companies because there's lots of politics involved and miscommunications and misreadings of expectations and all of that shit. All right? So you got to figure out what you need to do to monetize something that you're good at, that comes naturally, right? Whether it's content creation, whether it's you being a freelancer of some kind, maybe you've created a product or service, to help marketing managers or business owners or professionals of some kind, whatever it is, you need to figure out how to monetize that on the side while you're working for someone else. And then eventually try to make sure that your income from that can replace your salary position, or you can keep both. You might be in a great situation where you're working for a company, you've helped them build, maybe you've got a lot of responsibility and they've given you a lot of trust, and you've worked yourself into a position where, you're kind of like up there in management or ownership. They might offer you some ownership, and you can keep that going. You know what I mean? But also keep doing what you're doing with your venture, right? But freedom is what it's all about. And the way you can create freedom is obviously a great income. You need to figure that out. Figure out your value and figure out how you can monetize it, and be very confident in how you deliver it and your skill set and the values that you bring to the table. All right? But yeah, going back to the main message, time is not waiting for no one. Your freedom, the time is now. The time is now. You need to go for your freedom now. Might take a year or two, but put your head down, right? And just go for it, man. Go for it. We're living in a crazy time. You know what I'm saying? We're living in a crazy time right now. The next 5 years is going to be ridiculous with AI boosting, and we're just, being implemented more and more. And as companies and people understand it better, and it just improves. But yeah, the time is now, man. The time is now. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting out some more good information just on freedom, leadership, relationships between men and women, family creation and legacy. So there's a lot of things I'm going to be discussing that can help you or someone you might know. So, definitely like this video, share it out to somebody that you think might enjoy it or get some value, and subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be putting out some good stuff, all right? But yeah, I hope you got some value, and I'll be talking to you soon. Peace.